Hey friends, it's been a while since I've spoken to you in YouTube land. Twitch has kind of swept me away. Pretty wild things going on in Twitch right now. Very, very exciting things. Meeting lots of incredible musicians from worldwide. I can see potential collaborations. We're organizing different kind of stream fests where we raid each other one after another, raising money for charities. Pretty amazing things going on in Twitch right now. So it's been 2 years since I put out any new music officially. And this will mark, May 2022, will mark the first of my intention of releasing one new song every single month, which is very ambitious. And hopefully I'm able to keep it up. I can't promise there's going to be accompanying videos for every single song, but the first single is out. It's called Haunted by You, kind of a pop song, sort of Peter Gabriel meets Sting, and has dinner with Hans Zimmer. It's kind of what I was thinking for this song. I'm very proud of it. I think I achieved the sound that I wanted to achieve. I'm not really trying to please anybody else with these songs, aside from fulfilling my own needs and my own desires for the music that I want to create. That is my driving force behind these songs and how I create music. And if it resonates with people, great. If not, well, maybe they'll like my June release. So Haunted by You's first single, it's available everywhere. All your usual streaming platforms. It's also available on Bandcamp. If you want to hear it played live, you can check me on Twitch. Right now, schedule is still Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then I'm usually on for about 3.5, 4 hours. And you can hear me perform the song live. I'd love to see you. I'd love to see some crossover from my YouTube subscribers onto Twitch. I think you'd be pretty blown away by what we have going on there. And I can kind of open you up into a whole new world of possibilities in terms of music that you've never heard before and you'll never hear anywhere else. A lot of the artists that I follow on there, the music is not released. You will only hear it live from them on stream, and that's it. So you're getting like original live content that you can't get anywhere else. It's pretty amazing. So come check it out. If you are from YouTube, say hi. I'd love to hear from you. Today we're going to do a quick walkthrough of Haunted by You. I'm going to tell you exactly how I put it together, how I mixed it, and give it a listen. Hope you like it. If you don't, that's fine too. It's all good because, again, the music that I create is fulfilling my own needs. And hopefully, if anything, this inspires people watching these videos to go out and create your own music and release it, for God's sakes. Put it out there. Are you going to make millions of dollars? Most likely, no. But don't leave it on your hard drive. It's pointless. Put it out there, and you never know who it might resonate with. You never know who might get an opportunity to listen to your music. Case in point, I'll keep this short. I ended up in a stream on Twitch. This violinist that I hadn't heard of before, her special guest star was just getting back from touring with Hans Zimmer. So they played violin duo the entire time. The entire stream was amazing. Hans Zimmer's violinist on Twitch. Just kind of happened to fall upon it. Somebody came into my stream. I was playing a Hans Zimmer cover. Like, you got to check it out. It was amazing. Just to give you an idea of the kind of crazy things that happen in Twitch. It's pretty wild. And you never know who's watching, who's listening. So I really recommend you check it out. There won't be any final thoughts to this video. We're just going to have the walkthrough. And then you can listen to the song anywhere you want, any streaming service. And I hope to see you in Twitch soon, my friends. I'm going to stick to a regular Friday release for YouTube. I did have the Tuesdays and the Fridays going on for a while. That is too much for me to keep up with. And also streaming and being on Twitch and other projects I have going on and teaching music, and I did 2 YouTube videos a week. It is not going to happen. So, but I will promise you that there will be one video every Friday, no matter what. Okay, my friends, let's get to it. All right, let's do this. Here is the project. Here's what it looks like. It looks big, but really it's not. Okay, and probably by most standards, what do we got? 31 tracks. That is not a big project for a pop song these days. As you can see, a whole bunch of these are vocal tracks, but it looks a little bit bigger than it is just because of the way that I record the vocal tracks, which I'll talk about in a minute. So let's just go through sound by sound. Okay, first sound we got going on here is Spitfire Audio Solstice. Okay, I was fooling around with this. This is the, I think it's the Marauder kits. Okay, and I'm going to show you what I did with it. So I didn't mess around too much with the presets. Pretty much left it in its kind of original sort of state. And but what I did mess around with it is in terms of sound. So this is the original sound. Got a pretty, is a beautiful, beautiful sound, very, very standard sound. Not standard sound, but traditional sound is the word that I'm looking for. And for this particular project, I was like, I'm just looking for something a little bit more. So we went into the EQ and rolled off a ton of the high, okay, to just kind of like bring it further back into the mix. We had some clip distortion, and then I gated that, and then I bust that out to some reverb, Valhalla reverb, and then you get this sound, which I thought was really cool. Okay, and I literally just looped this out, that same thing, and I know I always say in these videos not to loop percussion, but it's just kind of like a bed track that sits beneath, and I thought it worked really well for what I was trying to do. So yeah, so big change in sound. So just again, we'll listen to the before and after here. And we'll add some EQ, clip distortion, gate it. Okay, so it's like night and day. Okay, and sound manipulation is key. Anytime you're doing any of this stuff, you got to get in there and you got to mess around with stuff. This, I'm not sure, this might have been a transitionary sort of thing. This is just pretty much exactly the same. It's the same part. It's just a little overdub. Okay, I always do my overdubs separately on separate tracks because my system can handle it. And for me, it's easier to look at it from a mix perspective than to try to overdub on top of the same track or to fool around with the MIDI and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much the bed percussion track. And then we have some Omnisphere. Okay, Omnisphere always makes it to all my projects. So let's see what we got going on here. We got, it's called the Boomerang Dream Piano. Okay, it's just a little reversed piano. So let's listen to that. It's just a transitionary sort of thing. Okay, literally one chord, just as a transition from verse to chorus transition. Okay, that's all it is. That's all it's for. Then we got some Contact Battery 4, which I still use all the time. I know it's super old, but I love it. I still love it. I use this is the Apnea Kit. That's one of my favorite kits. Didn't fool around too much within battery itself, but what we did with it is we rolled off a ton of the low actually on this one, a little bit, busted out to a little bit of reverb and panned it a little bit to the left. Okay, just always thinking about the stereo spectrum when you're doing this stuff. And then I duplicated that kit and let's listen to those two parts. I can play them together actually. Let's see, the other one's dead center, but if you put them together, very, very background. Okay, it's very, very low in the mix, just a little bit of a rhythmic kind of structure in there, very, very simple. And then on top of that, I wanted a little bit more percussion, so I went with what do we got going on here? Spitfire Percussion their snare. Okay, I freaking love the snare samples from the original Spitfire Percussion library. So this is literally the snare one. We got mostly close sound, a little bit of tree, no ambient. Okay, no ambient mics used in that. And then we got, in terms of other processing, just rolled off a low, and that's pretty much it. No additional reverb. Let's hear that. It's got like a nice attack. It's a traditional sound, and I love using traditional kind of orchestral sounds and mixing them in with these kinds of projects. So there's that, and then we got some bass going on here. What do we use for bass? This is literally like, I think it's like a Logic stock bass. Yeah, Logic stock bass called Subby Bass. Okay, and I think that these are all the plugins that are actually just used directly with the bass. So no manipulation going on right there, just a little bass. Okay, it might sound a little weak on its own, but when you put it in the mix, trust me, it works. Okay, and then we got some piano, of course. Piano is very low in the mix. It's intentional. Okay, this is Noir Piano, which if you've been watching my channel, you know that I use almost exclusively at this point in time. Freaking love Noir Piano. So versatile. I'm using the reverb and delay within the plugin itself. So I'm usually always messing around with these dials. I change the color knob a little bit. I don't think I mixed around with, so there's no particles engine on this one. I didn't mess around with the effects within Noir. So literally just the basic kind of effects within the main window of Noir Piano. Noir is in everything I do. I friggin' love the sample. So literally just very low in the mix. Whole lot of reverb going on there. That is reverb built within Kontakt library itself. Very, very cinematic. And then there's just a couple of overdub parts, and then piano sound for the chorus. So I record the chorus and the verse always separately, so I can mix them separately. So I don't have to mess around with automation. I try to use minimal automation because once you get in the automation, it gets real messy. So I try to only use automation when if I have to change something really, really small, or I have to fade something in and out. And it's always at the very end when I've made sure that my static mix is really good and I have sufficient headroom, at least 6 decibels of headroom. And then I'll automate something, but not until the end because it gets real messy otherwise. Okay, so those piano tracks are all processed the same. It looks like a lot, but literally it's just because I staggered them. Piano outro, again, I recorded that separately because everything else is to the click, because it's a pop song, so it has to be. Whereas this final piano part, I played it with a retardando at the end. Wanted to slow it down at the end, to get a little sense of realism in there. So that was not played. This last part was not played with the click. So that's why I recorded that separately. And then this is really fun. Okay, so I got, I have real guitar on here because I'm trying to play a lot more real guitar these days, especially on my stream in Twitch. A lot of fun. So we're using Guitar Rig. Guitar Rig 6, and this is my favorite preset, which is called Creamy Snowflakes. Love it. So there's a little bit of real guitar in there, and it's low in the mix, and there's not a lot of it, but it is there. So I'm trying to incorporate as many real instruments as possible. Let's check this out. It's got a beautiful ambient wash to it, and very delicate. Just it sits underneath the track. I love it. Love that sound. To that, again, rolled off some lows. I had to gain it up a little bit. I'm not even sure why that's on there, to be honest with you, because I think I think I probably put a gain on there initially when I was mixing at the beginning. It doesn't need to be on there. There's really no reason for this gain to be on here. You're probably wondering why. I think it's because when I was mixing it before I did my final static mix. So the process I use is I do one final mix at the end, and then I'm looking at my master fader and looking for that headroom. And once I get the mix exactly where I want it, I literally copy I select all the tracks. This is something that a little trick that I got from a Spitfire audio video, actually. And I forget who it was. It was one of the engineers or somebody, and they were using Logic, and I love this. I literally select all the tracks. Once I get everything balanced exactly the way I want, this is the very, very last thing. And I literally just pull this down until I just drag all the faders down so the mix stays the same until I get that 6 decibels of headroom. That's it. So I think this gain was probably put on there before I had done all that, when I was trying to get a little bit more guitar, and I just forgot about it, left it on there. It doesn't need to be on there. It's literally a 2 decibel gain, which I easily could have done with a fader. Anyway, that's what it is. Okay, and then I mixed those guitars with another Contact library, which I really like, which is Electric Sunburst, which is like an AI guitar. So is it cheating a little bit? Yeah, it's always cheating a little bit, but I'm not a guitarist. I'm a piano player who does a whole bunch of other stuff, and guitar is one of those things that I'm going to add more guitar all the time. And as I get better at guitar, I'll add more of these like real guitar tracks. But until that time, I like to add some really, really good. It's such clean samples, okay? And it's so clean, and you can just sync it right to the track. So let's check that out. I think I have two guitar tracks going on. So this is the second verse. I'll play it. This is that's it. It's just providing like a rhythmic sort of track, nice stereo left and right over top. So use whatever tools you have, and at the end of the day, remember, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Okay, maybe some people on Twitch, because we have a lot of kind of music. We like to get dorky. A lot of music. We're a lot of music geeks on Twitch. So yeah, maybe some of us care, but at the end of the day, the listener does not care at all. Okay, I'm doing this just to kind of show you how I put it together, but most people really just don't care. They just, what does the end result sound like? Most people, when they're eating a good meal, they don't really care what's in it or how it was put together. They just want to enjoy it. All right, and then I took that same sample, and then I added it another part at the end. Very, very U2. That's a very, very U2. Okay, so I'm mixing real guitar with some AI guitar. Why? Because it's fun. That's why. Okay, and then I was like, I haven't used Solstice as much as I would like to, so I threw in what does the gut stand for? I forget what it is. GUT main techniques plucked. Okay, and just again, it's more of like a rhythmic kind of a thing, but just something different. Always looking for something different. So let's see what this sounds like. It's almost like a guitar. It's almost like an ostinato kind of a thing happening there, but just a different sound. It doesn't sound like a traditional guitar, and that's why I liked it. And so same thing, just rolled off some low. And then we got some more Omnisphere in there. So I also tried to use some sounds that I'm frequently using in my live streams on Twitch, because I'm always trying to think about, okay, how am I going to play these songs live? Which is very difficult, especially when I'm using a 5-channel looper, RC505. Somehow I got to take all this and I got to put it all in there live, and I got to do it quickly. So I'm always trying to think of, not using some new sounds, but also trying to use some sounds that I really, really like that are going to fit well with my live streams. So we got the Boeing, hang on, I'm going to say this wrong. Boeing Chromium, which is one of my favorites. Very, very cool sound. For some reason, I have a flat EQ here, which is doing absolutely nothing, which is funny. Okay, so let's listen to this. Very, very cool sound. That is a sizzling sound. Okay, that is a sizzler right there. Love it. Okay, and then another one of my favorite sounds from Omnisphere. I got like the Omnisphere greatest hits going on here. Let's see what we got here. Again, EQ, roll off some low. We got the Bode electric guitar. All right, this is like almost in like every song that I do. People are gonna probably get sick of it, but some big Twitch streamers come in and they're always like, Dan, what does that sound? All right, it's this one. Let's check it out. What a glorious sound that is. Okay, glorious. I use that sound, by the way, so I cover a few Hans Zimmer songs in Twitch now. What do? I do Gladiator. I do a acoustic version of Gladiator. Acoustic piano, sorry. I do Interstellar on piano, the main theme. And I did a killer version I thought was pretty good of Man of Steel. And then this was a perfect sound, Omni Bode Electric. Perfect sound for Man of Steel. I do a thunderous version of it. I bring the thunder is what I do. Okay, then we got Neo. Okay, one of my favorite sounds from Spitfire Audio, Neo. How do we go about getting sponsorship from Spitfire for Dan? That's what we need to do, so that I have all the libraries. Because I'm selling it, right? I'm selling it to you guys. I'm selling it on Twitch. How do we get sponsorship? You guys let me know out there in YouTube land. This is cassette tape strings. So this is like, you know, an orchestral sample that they've kind of manipulated. And I love this sound. Let's check it out. Glorious sound. Okay, quite often instead of using the orchestral samples from the libraries, particularly the Spitfire Albion series, I like to use their process sounds. I almost always use the process sounds more than I use the original orchestral content. Okay, and then we got a whole bunch of vocals. Okay, and that's it. The rest is all vocals. So there's really not a ton of stuff going on. Okay, now I've talked about vocal chains in my past YouTube videos, so I'm not going to go. I do have my specific vocal chain in another YouTube video, so I'm not going to go into like huge long spiel about it. Other than my approach for vocals is very, very simple, very simple. I do as few takes as possible, 6 or less is what I aim for. I try to only use full takes, and as opposed to trying to go in and so if you've used Logic, you know that you can set your cycle window here. You can pop it and record. It'll just continuously cycle through the same spot over and over again, and it'll just create a stack of all of your different takes. And then you just piece together the parts of your stack that you like. Now, did I do that here? No, I didn't. So I try not to piece together different takes. Why? I don't know. This is the way I try. I like to try to just get one full take. And I never aim for perfection. And I'm always looking to capture an emotion far more than trying to get it perfect. Okay? Auto-tune, I almost never use ever. Unless it's like a backup vocal and I'm trying to take the vibrato out of my voice and I'm trying to splice some harmonies together and make it sound maybe a little bit more processed. But in terms of actually correcting pitch, I almost never do it. The other thing that I really try to avoid using is reverb on vocals, because I've done way too much of that in the past, and it really clutters up the mix. So I really try not to do that. So this seems like a lot, but again, it's just a way I record them this way, so that it's easier to mix. Always in my head, how is it? It's going to be easier at the end of the project to mix all this stuff. So that's why you have like kind of this staggered thing, like this verse 1 and verse 2. These could all be on the same 2 tracks, but it's just, for me, it's an easier way of looking at it in a linear kind of way, that I can kind of mix it together very, very easily, just using the faders without worrying about automation and all that kind of stuff. So it looks like a lot of tracks. It's really not. It's just that I've staggered. I've done separate ones for verse 1, verse 2, chorus 1, chorus 2, that sort of thing. That's all it is. So there's basically 2 main components going on here. Okay, we have our lead vocals, okay, on the verses and the verses. So we have our backup vocals, our verse vocals, and our chorus vocals are all processed just slightly different, very, very slightly. Okay, so for verse, literally, and the EQ is pretty much all the same, with the exception of maybe the backup vocals. I messed around with those a little bit. Pretty much all the same. Always doing the same thing. Okay, I think this is a preset, male vocal refresh. I think maybe I moved it around a little bit, but it's almost always the same. Roll off the lows, and you'll want to mess around with this. You'll want to drag it back and forth, and a little shelf at the end. That's it. Okay, that's what you do for vocals. That's what works for me. The De-Esser. Okay, I've talked about this in past videos. The De-Esser in Logic, the first one, De-Esser number 1, was not good. Part 2, the sequel, seems to be much better, works for me very well. Again, you'll want to maybe, I always start with presets, okay? And then you tweak them based on, you can actually dial in and find the really nasty frequencies, okay, and mess around with it, try to take out as much of that as you can. For compression, hang on, am I in the wrong track here? Let's go back here. Sorry, that was for chorus. Okay, compression. Okay, we have fairly gentle, 6-to-1. Okay, we got no makeup gain. We're always looking for about 3 to 5 decibels of makeup gain with compression. Okay, do everything in very, very small incremental stages. Gate, I haven't used in the past. I've been manually removing the spaces in between the vocals, where you get all the little, all the different sounds of the room. I've been manually deleting those. But actually, the gate worked very well for me this time around. It took me a while to kind of dial in the setting to get the threshold right, but I got some very, very clean sounds from the gate. And then, okay, on the chorus vocals, I actually added some more distortion. 70 stomp box is what I used. I went back and forth on this for a long time. And I know that not everyone is going to be fond of this. And that's perfect. That's great. Just so you know, if you're listening to it, you might be like, oh, it sounds a little harsh. Frequencies sound a little harsh. Yeah, they do. I wanted something different. I wanted something that stood out differently from the verse. I wanted, I'm trying to create music. There's so much noise out there. There's so much music. Why try to sound like everybody else? This is my worst fear, is for somebody to listen to my song and be like, wow, that sounds just like this. I hope that you don't think that. I hope that you're able to hear some of my influences, like those dudes on the wall over there. But I hope that you listen to it and you're not like, wow, it sounds exactly like this other thing. I hope you don't because I really try to fight against the urge of copying other people's work and their processing. I'm a huge fan of Phineas O'Connell, and I try to learn from his production techniques, but I try to sound nothing like him. And I hope that I don't, because what is the point? We have Phineas. We don't need another Phineas. Actually, it would be nice to have another Phineas, but we like Phineas the way he is. So always reaching for something different. So if it sounds kind of harsh and jaunting, is jaunting a word? And it's all intentional. There's no accidents in this. Everything's intentional. So a little bit of distortion on lead vocals, and then if you look at this bus 2, okay, that's my this is the secret sauce here. Okay, bus 2, stereo delay. Okay, stereo delay, man. Okay, that's how you get good vocals. That's how you get this really kind of, especially on headphones, it makes it sound big and wide and thickens everything without cluttering up your mix. So this is literally a dual 16 slap, slightly different time between the left and the right. Roll off the lows, roll off the highs, and I have no feedback whatsoever. That is it. That is the secret of my vocals. So check this out. If you look at, so these are my backing vocals. If you look at these tracks, the rest of the vocal parts, this is the verse, the verses and the chorus. Look at that. I actually had reverb on all these. I just kept dialing it back, and then I just lost it. First time I've ever put out a song with vocals in it that I cut out. There's no reverb, none, on the lead vocals throughout the whole song, which actually felt really good. There is a ton of delay. Look at that. I just dialed you can be pretty heavy-handed with delay. Ton of delay. Okay? So you got to be real careful with reverb. Now, if you have a really open, spacious mix with very, very little going on, and it's kind of acoustic, you could throw a whole lot of reverb at it. When I'm playing live on my streams, I'm a whole lot of reverb, because I feel like I sing better. I sing more confidently, and I think the end result is better. I use a whole lot of reverb live. But when you're trying to get clarity in mixes, delay is your friend. Always, always, always. I say delay for pretty much anything. Also works incredibly well for guitar. Reverb is not the trick, my friends. Delay. Okay, delay is your friend. But I do love reverb, don't get me wrong. So that is all the vocals. And then on the backing vocals, see, this is a little bit different. Okay, so these are processed slightly different. And then look at this. Okay, a ton of reverb. Okay, a ton of reverb. Look at me dialing this up. Okay, why? Because I want to push the backing vocals to the back. I want to push them back into the mix. So you can do that in numerous different ways. I do it by lowering, obviously pulling the faders way down, so it's not overpowering the lead vocals, and a ton of delay and pushing it back into the mix so it doesn't take over everything else. And then you get a really nice contrast between the two. Okay, so let me give you an idea of, here, I'll play this part and we'll just listen to the vocals. Where's the backup vocals here? I called it counterpart, vocal counterpart. Okay, so let's listen to it from here. From fear anymore, I can't take this chorus deep. Okay, a ton of reverb, push it back into the mix. Really nice contrast. You have some nice contrast going on here. You have a nice contrast between the verse vocals, the backup parts, and then the lead vocals, like with this really distorted sound. Put the clip distortion on top of it. Okay, and that is it, my friends. That is it. So it seems like a lot, but really it's not. This is, like I said, these vocal parts could have easily been condensed into fewer tracks. I just do it this way because it's easier for me to look at. But at the core of all this, you got some percussion, bass, of course. You got piano. This could easily just have been one track. You got a little bit of guitar. Okay, some synthy kind of pads and stuff like that, and then some vocals. I try to keep everything very, very simple, very, very stripped down. I'm a minimalist when I'm doing this stuff, and I try to create something that sounds different, that stands out, that doesn't sound like everything else. And if I like how it sounds at the end of it, I keep tweaking until I get to a point where I'm like, I stop tweaking, and then I just sit back and I enjoy it. And then if I listen to it 2 or 3 more times after that, it's it. That's done. I'm done with it. I'm putting it out. That's all there is to it. And I'm just not giving it a second thought. I'm pushing stuff out the door. I'm putting pressure on myself to release one song a month. I encourage you to do the same or something similar. I could have easily have just worked on like an EP or, you know, a full album over the course of 6 months and then put 6 songs out. But for me, it's much easier to focus from a mental health perspective on one song at a time and push it out and then move on to the next one. And really, EPs and albums, is there a place for them? Maybe. My personal belief is that they're done. Okay, the EP, extended plays, and albums. Is it easier to maybe market a collection of songs at once? Yeah, it is, for sure. Do people sit down and listen to albums anymore? Most people do not. They listen to a song. And songs aren't even 3.5, 4 minutes anymore. They're 2.5 minutes. So times have changed. We live in a singles-driven music release cycle. And I think just for me, from a perspective of pushing stuff out, moving on to the next one, it's a nice way of kind of just, it's a gentle pressure of forcing me to release songs and not leave them on my hard drive. And at the end of the day, do the songs that you want to do, make them sound the way that you want them to sound, put them out, and move on to the next one. That's it, my friends. That's the best advice that I can give you. And don't let things hold you back. Don't let limitations hold you back. Just do the music, mix it, put it out. Okay? If you're wondering about mastering, I used AI mastering through Landar. Okay, Landr. I did a video recently, or maybe it was a little while ago now, comparing my mastering versus doing it myself using Ozone. And I compared it to SoundCloud mastering and Landar. And at the end, I said, well, SoundCloud is better. Landar was a very close second. But as I went back, the SoundCloud sounded a little boomy. And a couple of the comments that people put on my YouTube channel kind of agreed. And SoundCloud, while I think it's good, their mastering service is very good and their distribution and everything is good. Landar, I used for the first time. I mastered it through this. I'm going to do a separate video, I think, on Landar and everything about it. But I was very, very happy, very pleased with the service, with the layout of the website, and literally I could master it, press the button for release, and it was out in the world the next day. It was crazy simple, super straightforward, super impressed, and very, very happy with Landar. So I'll do an updated video on that soon. That's it, my friends. Create, record, get ideas out there, give yourself a schedule and a release date, stick to that schedule, put it out, move on. Okay, keep putting stuff out. If you're going to work on stuff for like 2 years and it's like you think it's going to be the most amazing thing ever and you've been killing yourself on it for 2 years and you put it out and nobody cares, I don't think you're going to feel very good about that. If you try to put stuff out a little bit more quickly, which is what I'm trying to do, and people don't like it, that's fine. I'm moving on to the next song and I'm not worried about it. So I think for your own sanity and for the way that the music industry has changed, I think this is a nice way of doing it. So this is my suggestion to you. Go forth and create. I hope to see you on a Twitch stream soon. I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I'm usually on for about between 3 and 4 hours. Love to see you there. And I'll introduce you to some amazing, amazing musicians that I'm becoming friends with, which is very exciting. So that's it, my friends. Go forth, create. I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.